everyone, it's Mel here. How are you doing? Just a random video in between the video series that I'm doing at the moment to help you stop binge eating or emotional eating for good. But it is full of different mind hacks and physical hacks that, if used in order, if possible, will help you permanently change your habits, which means that being able to eat in moderation will become who you are. So in today's video, I wanted to do a quick video because something happened quite recently and it kind of reminded me of one of the benefits that I noticed when I did inner healing. So, and if you haven't met me before, I'm Mel. Hello, hi. And I am a food addictions and binge eating expert. And I am also a disordered eating rapid transformational therapist. And I help women all around the world to stop any kind of destructive eating behaviors using rapid transformational therapy. And most of my clients are online and from all around the world because I use and embrace the power of hypnosis to be able to help these women overcome their undesirable behaviors using the internet, just like I am talking to you right now. So in this video, actually, I wanted to share something that really is one of the main side effects, and not a side effect is a bad side effect, the main benefits that I noticed myself when I did the inner healing, which is really part of the program that I use. So basically, if you're not familiar with hypnosis or rapid transformational therapy, it is where we go to the root cause of all our behaviors. And why is that really important? If you've not met me before, if you've not seen any of my videos, is because 95% of our actions are from the subconscious mind. So it's only 5%, a very little amount of our actions are done intentionally. We are basically run like unconsciously. So we don't have kind of any power of what we're doing. Everything that we do is premeditated by the subconscious mind without even us realizing it. So when I did the inner healing, one of the benefits that I noticed, as well as stopping those binge eating thoughts and the food addictions thoughts and all those unhealthy behaviors that were connected to unhealthy habits, and if you're suffering from uncontrollable appetite, emotional eating, compulsive eating of any kind, it is usually connected with many other things like anxiety, depression, guilt, frustration, anger, which I suffered from a lot, insecurity, unable to trust yourself. So there's many things that are connected to having a disruptive eating behavior, because it's very similar to all the addictions that we have. Alcohol, believe it or not, like working yourself down to the ground, is kind of an addiction because it's really trying to get away from the real cause. It's not really dealing what the real problem is. We're always trying to either numb it or avoid it. If this is the first time you've seen me, I suffered from unhealthy relationships with food for over 22 years, and more than that with addiction. So it kind of evolved with me. I suffered from addictions back to back, and then finally with food, because it was the hardest thing to stop in the end, because as you know, we all have to eat, and it was like really hard to measure what was kind of normal. However, today I really wanted to share with you when you actually do the inner healing, because if you think ourselves as like an onion, we have layers and layers and layers of life experiences, and these life experiences create our beliefs, and these beliefs that we have then creates our reality. So we are built by 1,000 and maybe millions of different kinds of these layered beliefs. And one of the benefits that I noticed when I did the inner healing is that I stopped justifying myself. And to give you an example, I actually came across an email the other day which I sent to one of my old friends a few years back anyway, and I came across it, and it was basically, we had a disagreement. It was a belief. It was, again, one of these disagreements where objectively none of us was right. And the thing is, most of the time when we have arguments, there is neither right or wrong most of the time, and most of the time is because of different values, different beliefs, different opinions. And what we're trying to do most of the time is making the other person believe what we believe. And I came across this email, and oh my God, I really wanted to hide under a rock when I read the email. I couldn't believe this was me, writing this email. It was over such a silly thing. Old friend of mine, we had a difference of opinion, and at the time as well, because it was a very new thing in my life that I decided to do, instead of standing my ground and saying, this is what I do now, and I don't really know the information why I want to do it, it's just this is how I'm going to be like going forward, and I'd really appreciate it that you would honor that, as a friend. But instead, when she asked me why am I doing this, I had to literally get the book out and just try to justify why I was doing what I was doing. And looking back on it now, remembering that conversation, the reasons why I kept justifying myself was because I wanted validation, really. I wanted her to support what I was doing, because I didn't feel enough. And it really only ever goes down to not feeling enough. And that is when I actually dissected our conversation, the reason why I kept going on and on and on and on is because I wanted to get her approval that what I was doing was right. And because she didn't quite understand what I was doing, and to be fair, what I was doing was very new to me. I was very new to what I was involved in. So for me, I was really unsure, but I really, 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 really wanted to do it. There was nothing that, no one would say to change my mind. However, I didn't have the evidence. It's almost like, when you believe in a God and somebody doesn't believe in a God, and they say, why, prove it. And you really can't prove it, and, but then instead of me just saying, this is what I believe in, and this is how it is, end of story, I literally just went on for about an hour. And I tell you what, if you had met me a few years ago, most people would probably say to you that I never shut up, because I was like a little Rottweiler. Little Rottweiler? No, they're not very, they're not little. I was a little Jack Russell, a little tiny dog, little really feisty dog. If you would have met me a few years ago and we had a conversation and I didn't agree with what you said and you didn't agree with what I said, I would have fought to death to make sure that I got my whole point across. I would not let go. But the reason why I would feel compelled to justify myself is because I wanted that validation. It was really me who didn't feel enough. So part of the healing, the inner deep healing that I do in my program to help my ladies to overcome their food addictions or their compulsive eating or binge eating, it's not just the food, because really it's the food that's helping to numb those feelings. And the same thing with justifying yourself. I was in that situation justifying myself, and because I didn't feel good enough, I wanted to have that reassurance that I was doing something right. So it's actually our biological makeup, because part of being humans and something that we're born with in our biological roots and connections and how we're hardwired is that we are tribal people. And basically what that means is we want to be part of a tribe, and that means being part of the tribe is being like everyone else. But the thing is, also as human beings, we all are unique and we all have our own ideas, and we all have like our own gifts. But every now and again, when we don't comply to order, for example, I'm vegan and most people are not vegan. So when I came out as being vegan, people feel threatened. They feel threatened because I'm not part of them, and then they question it. And if I'm not a very confident vegan, which I wasn't back in the day, instead of standing up for myself, this is who I am. I don't know much about the information, but I know from what I read, it is enough for me to change my values, to change my beliefs in the way that I eat. And I may not have all the information to lay it down, to prove to you, but I would appreciate you respecting my decision. And I tell you what, the conversation should have stopped there. You know, that's the kind of conversation. But no, when you're not feeling enough, when I wasn't feeling enough, I would have gone on and said, well, statistically, the WHO says that you live a lot longer. It's better for your health. I would have said this book said this book said that. And then I read this on like this blog. And then I read, you know, and I would have just thrown all this information to this person. And as you know, if you're on the receiving end, when you've got someone who's like really like got their back up and they're like going on and on and on, the chances are, like I've said in my other video, chances are they'll just walk away thinking, you know, they're either like crazy, or they would have just believed their beliefs in anyway. You wouldn't have accomplished anything by doing that. So that's what happened with me before I did the therapy. I was forever justifying my behaviours because I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel like my words, nobody believed me. And saying that, like, when I didn't feel like people believed me, again, this is all rooted to my childhood, because I didn't feel that I had a voice. There was parts of my therapy that I did, because whatever I'm doing now with my ladies, I have done it myself. I'm the living proof of the therapy, which really works. And I'm sharing with you what happened with me. And that is like when I got brought back to scenes of why I didn't feel like I'm good enough, why I had to keep justifying myself, is because there was like memories in my past when my parents didn't believe me. There was like this really, really silly incident, and my parents accused me of doing something, and I didn't do it. And we got punished for something we didn't even do. And when this occurred time and time again, and like I said, the trauma in childhood doesn't have to be physical abuse or anything like that, even though if you do have trauma, that is even deeper healing. To heal is a much better word. You know, this gets ingrained in us when we're adults. So, and as a result, I became angry. I became insecure. I didn't trust my words. I was doubting myself all the time. So this affected my career as well, because I could have done so much better in my career back when I was in the banking system. I could have done better, but I was always doubting myself, doubting my capabilities. I was then attracting the wrong men in my life because I unconsciously didn't think that I would deserve it, because this is the kind of things that our subconscious mind does in order to protect ourselves. And like I said, you know, if you're feeling like you're justifying yourself all the time, it is because you've got that need to feel that validation from the other person. It's almost like, if I could just keep trying to make them see, maybe I'll feel enough. Maybe when they support what I believe in, then I would feel good enough. But at the end of the day, really, if this is something that really feels strongly for you, you don't need anyone to validate validate it to feel enough. Anyway, and that is basically it. That is the reasons why I wanted to come on here, is because that one of the major things that I noticed when I did the deep inner healing, when I found out the root cause of my destructive eating and crazy binges and back-to-back diets and the constant justifying myself, is because the deep-rooted core beliefs of not feeling enough inside. And that's why I was looking, and more often this is manifested in our lives by finding things to fill that hole, justifying yourself in situations. So anyway, I hope that maybe some of that has resonated with you. If you catch yourself justifying, this is all connected, especially if you have challenges around food. These are all connected pretty much to one main root cause. And I have to say that until I did the inner healing, even though I read so many self-help books, I wasn't at peace until I really released those deep rooted causes. So if you feel like that you are in this constant emotional roller coaster and want to get out of all the destructive eating behaviours or mental stress constantly, or finding yourself that you're isolating yourself, you end up having no friends, you know, I could help you heal that trapped inner child that is really, really deep down inside of you. Because always remember that most of our behaviours, 95% of our behaviours and actions, is in the subconscious mind. So that's why I always try to share mind hacks rather than diets or how to eat, because if your mind is not part of the team when it comes to your meal plans or things like that, it's not going to last very long. So if you're interested in having freedom from mental stress and destructive eating behaviours, just click on my banner to find out how you can embrace the power of rapid transformational therapy to break free from all those vicious cycles you're caught in, and very rapidly too, and all over online, just like we are now. So on that note, take care and watch out for the video tomorrow for my next tip on how to stop binge eating or emotional eating on a conscious level, so that eventually, with consistency and with a lot of self-compassion, and also just keep doing them again and again and again, you'll find that once you do them, that's how the brain registers it into your subconscious mind, and that's when things get a lot easier, and you won't even have to think about eating moderately because you would have done all the programming yourself. So take care. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.